Hi guys, it's your girl Tasha, your online bestie. This is part two of life, building a life as we are empty nesting. And I hope that the first part you were able to learn a little bit more about yourself. Uh, you know, make note of some awarenesses, some surprises, some things that you thought you had figured out and you just can't really um, come up with anything. What is something that surprised you? What surprised you? Jot those things down because we are on a journey of self discovery. We're on a journey of self discovery, which you know is going to take you being committed to what you want to experience in this thing called life. If you make busy your priority, you are not going to feel as fulfilled if you are not being intentional with your efforts, your time. For those of you that have multiple children and grandchildren, you can be spread thin. By the time you count up birthdays, holidays, um, the demands or expectation is still that you're going to be cooking for Thanksgiving and Easter for some of you guys that celebrate. So going back to say part one, we really kind of started with having that boundary. And that includes as you are going along, if it's something that comes up that you didn't otherwise consider before, it's okay. Because remember, we already established that you and I have a right to change our mind. You and I have a right to change our mind. They do too, but it's about us right now. Okay. So we got to normalize that when you make commitments to others with the set of information that was before you at that particular time, you have to be open to the fact that things may happen. You may have to do some reschedules, some postponements. And it's not because you're going to the next busy thing, but simply because maybe your body just tired. You just want to relax and listen to the birds. Giving yourself permission to not be overly committed to things, places, and people and entities just because you're an empty nester. And how you set that boundary is going to really determine, are you mentally relaxed or are you so spread thin that you can't even sleep right? So you have to really practice setting that boundary, even with your friends that think that you can jump up and jump on the freeway. Some of us, it take us a little longer to get our stuff together. I cannot stand packing. I would sometimes on them little quick road trips, sometimes I would prefer going whatever city it is, just going to a quick Walmart or City Trend or something to grab a few pieces if it's gonna be something quick, than to be packing and getting up, climbing up, getting him up there to get the suitcase and the bag. And then when you come back home, the bags just stay packed for a while. I mean, that's just me. Okay. But if you know that like the spontaneity in you is not there, it's okay. Just let them know, hey, give me a heads up. And our friends and family and different people we love and care about need to uphold the boundary that you have. Because I don't know about you, I'm not in the business of redirecting people. At some point, it becomes disrespectful. Because if you went over and over again, people will test and push boundaries all the time. But some of you guys that have grandkids, they're wired to call and start begging. You gotta let them know, look, it's Grandparents' Day in September. It's your birthday or whatever else. And you have certain days that you just don't want to be bothered because you don't want to get calls only when it's everybody's birthday, like the Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus or something. But people will continue to do things if you don't open your mouth about it. It's one thing to let them know, set the boundary and redirect a few times, but then figure out, am I mentally exhausted because I'm constantly redirecting people? At what point do you take a time out and let them know, hey, this is costing me too much of my relaxation time to have to keep redirecting you. So what I'm going to do is take a whole time out. Do not call my house or text me. You have to go after your self-care and your wellness as if your life depend on it, because it does. especially for some of you guys that have competing demands by way of multiple kids and grandchildren, godchildren, or other different things tugging at you. So that's going to be very important on your journey of identifying who you want to be, who you have postponed to be, and who you have abandoned in a sense, right? Because some of you guys have just kind of aborted this whole idea that you can do some of the things because you chose parenting. And that's absolutely not true. It's just a matter of your mindset. Your mindset. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength, right? And your mindset have to know that you deserve it. Your mindset have to be open to the possibility that getting to the level of life satisfaction in this season is going to require that you're not so easily accessible to everyone pulling and tugging at you. You're not going to hijack your weekends to be babysitting for everybody when you desire to, sit up and do maybe nothing. Or you want to take that random road trip with a friend and enjoy an ice cream cone or whatever it is that bring you joy and fulfillment. You want to take that hiking trip for some of you guys that love to hike and, things like that. You can do those things, but you have to understand that if you don't believe you deserve anything but stress, then you're going to be having a notebook full of ideas and an execution of none. So now we're going to pick up where we left off. And our next step will be, remember the premise is those boundaries. And now we want to talk about 3 hobbies that interest you. What are 3 hobbies that interest you right now? 3 hobbies that interest you right now. We have some of you guys that are starting your sewing classes, cooking classes. Some people love to organize and clean. Some people love scrapbooking. Some people like to travel. Some people like to color. Whatever it is that comes to mind, what are your hobbies? What do you like doing? What can you be doing as a hobby and lose track of time? Because you just get so engulfed in it because you enjoy it. Put those 3 hobbies down that interest you. Whether you tried them before or it's something you aspire to try to see if, you'll bring it on as a hobby. And then in the column right across from there, just put it like a little dash or whatever. Is there anyone that comes to mind that you can enjoy these hobbies with? Can you enjoy these hobbies with other people? Because we do need that human connection, right? And so you want to be very careful about who you bring on these journeys with you, because remember, you're at a different season. Your level of tolerance for certain things has changed. It doesn't mean that those that you grew up with or went to college with is on the same level. It's not about, am I higher than them or they lower than me? We're not talking about that hierarchy. We're talking about what do you desire to experience in this season of your life doing empty nesting. So if you want to experience added peace, you want to experience, a healthier body, you want to experience improved finances, you want to experience an elevated growth in your spiritual walk, you have to be very strategic about how you lend yourself to people, places, and things that contradict what you put on your paper about what you want to experience. And sometimes it's a little bit deeper than a want. It's what you need to experience as well as your want. So for this example, if you know you need to experience added peace because life has dealt you a raw one this last quarter, for example, and you just want to lay up, be massaged on, just Netflixing and just chilling in your pajamas, then you got to look at, okay, who have access to me easily that's going to interrupt that for me? Who struggle in my life with respecting and upholding my boundaries? Those are the ones that need to be on the timeout, because you should not be exerting your energy redirecting, like I said earlier. All right. And the one common thing I hear people say, but Tasha, they say I changed. Well, you need to let them know you had to. Any season in our life that requires something new, something unfamiliar that we are practicing and elevating in is going to require some level of change. Change is not always comfortable. We know that already. We've been living quite a while, so we know that. Now it's time for you to practice that and be consistent with that. You owe nobody no apologies for prioritizing yourself. You have no type of guilt that should be running through you right now. I have people that, in retirement, they decided, hey, their dream car was a Mercedes. And she went and bought her a Mercedes. And her kids were mismanaging their money and continue to do that. And they're upset because she was supposed to, by their definition, to bail them out once again. How dare she go and get this type of luxury car while we're over here struggling? Has she not had a boundary and really, really clear about what she wanted to experience, knowing that she spent her whole entire life pouring into these kids, she probably would have put off her dream car. And what message do you send to your lovies when you, again, suppress, put back, delay, abort the thing that you want to experience, and then enable the lovies that we love and give them that control, because we're sending them a message that what you want and need and desire is not, it doesn't matter. So what is accountability for this example for kids who continue to mismanage their money? Where is accountability if you put off making that purchase just to go bail them out for the 100th time? And as parents, we don't really keep score, right? But sometimes you need to just go in your head and remind yourself that the circus that folks create for themselves, it is not your job to clean it up. And you guys hear me say that all the time, because a lot of people spend a lot of time attempting to clean up the mess of other people. That's why they don't bump their heads and learn and grow from it, because you keep bailing them out. So where is accountability? Where is that urge for them to change? I do that all the time. When my son get his checks and get all excited, he want to go to the beach and all. That's great. But I don't have to fill in the gap when that money gone. When you're talking about you don't eat what I cook, you hungry. I guess you're going to eat air sandwiches. I don't know. Because he's responsible for his eating budget and his hygiene budget, because you got revenues coming in, bro. You have to stick to it, because you and I, we're not going to be here like that. We all got to cross over at some point. Nobody like to talk about that, but that's the reality that you need to be operating in. So no, you don't have to feel what you feel, because feelings are natural emotions. Okay, go ahead and feel that thing, but don't make a decision off that feeling solely. Okay. Now, moving along, we're going to look at activities that allows you to experience new friendships. We kind of talked about that on the part one. But again, have you guys been in the airport before, like a flight delay, and you meet some of most amazing people? For some of you guys that like to go on cruises, that's a whole different culture for people that cruise a lot. It's a different kind of conversation. That water just brings a level of relaxation. So being open to new conversation and new experiences. Are you the type that, like that? If you don't know that about yourself, that's very important, because you do not want to be on vacation with people that doesn't align with what you want to experience, and you find yourself on a vacation with a fuddy-duddy, and maybe you the type that like to meet new friends, and maybe this friend is a little edgy with new people coming in your space. So get clear about, again, what is it that I want to experience as a empty nester, that I have put on hold, that I have aborted, that I have procrastinated on. that I have talked myself out of. This is all you. It is all you. If you one that says, well, you know what? I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to do. I don't have any money. So now it's all you again. Because now you have to tighten up your budget. Now, funny how when those kids was at home and they needed $10, $15 for gas last minute, you were able to scrape that up some kind of way, whether you're pulling out a credit card or something. But when it comes to prioritizing you, a lot of times we make excuses. We do. You know, we'll fill up little Johnny's tank, but won't even fill up our own cars. That's a physical car, spiritual car. We often do that because care bears and nurturers that we are, that's something that we do naturally. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's unfortunate sometimes that we don't apply that same grace in nurturing to ourselves. How much more would your blood pressure just be flowing like it needs to be if you start nurturing yourself and start prioritizing yourself and start experiencing new things and being open for conversations and meeting new people and new things and not being so rushed because you got to hurry up and rush here and there and everywhere because you got to go babysit over here. Well, at least you tell yourself you have to go babysit this person, go take this one to the doctor, run to the pharmacy for that, run to the church for that, run over here for that. That's exhausting. And some of you guys are still working and juggling all of that. So be mindful as the empty nesters roll out. Be mindful what you're rolling right back in to replace that. Because some of us are so used to being busy. When you don't have those demands, you don't know how to deal with yourself. So you go and pile some other stuff to keep busy. That has nothing to do with anything on your list. You go volunteer for all this stuff because you don't really want to declutter that garage or get your closet in order and get your room where you sleep and rest your head at night organized so you can sleep and experience the resting phase that we all should be enjoying. Because let's be honest, we don't like to do things that we just don't have the desire. We just want the end result. It would be nice to have somebody come declutter your stuff. But if you're not vested in cleaning up your own mess, it's the same thing that we're teaching our young people. I'm going to clean up your mess, so I'm going to just keep coming back and you keep bailing me out. So the same thing with you. Whatever is cluttered in your life, whether it's your mindset, your room, your bathroom, your car, garage, if you have a garage, your workspace, your spiritual life, whatever is cluttered, this is a season to pull those things back one at a time, one at a time. And you'll find the minute you start working on decluttering your spiritual self, then you have more clarity to start working on the things external, to declutter those. And then you'll be more inclined, that discernment will kick in when you feel the spirit of clutter coming through other people. Everything is all interconnected. So we're going to start with our inner self and then work out. And we kind of talked about in the last module, the people you lost touch with, revisiting some of those folks, if it makes sense for you to do that. Some people we just don't want to see anymore ever, right? We're not talking about those folks. We're talking about people who you just really genuinely love to connect with. I have a friend in Lakewood. We start parenting 10 years apart. So my kids is old enough to be babysitters for her kids. So she's still got little ones. And so because our parenting gap, we're not able to get together as much as we desire. Because she has to still, put them through school and all of the little stuff the little people do. And so we try to get together on her commute home sometimes, just through the phone, just to hear each other's voice, maybe once a quarter, And so when she hit empty nesting, we're going to be looking forward to reestablishing and reconnecting because we enjoy each other's company, the physical touch and the hugs and stuff like that. The other thing you want to jot down is, are there some places you wanted to visit, like a destination? Go ahead and put a destination that you really wanted to visit and start making arrangements to go. Even if it's 24 months from now, 12 months, 8 months, 6 months, what is that destination for you? Start going online or going on your phones and Googling, what does the airfare cost? Does it require airfare? What is the stay like? Do you need an Airbnb or hotel? What is it about this trip that makes you want to go? What season do you want to go to experience the fullness of the trip, the destination? The destination is a little bit more in depth than a trip, right? A destination is a whole experience. The trip is an action. The destination is how you show up and what you experience and embrace. So what is that destination that you can start making arrangements for now? Remember, you don't have to be in a rush. So when you're making your arrangements, some of this you guys are doing is a faith walk. You might say, well, I wanted to go to Europe. I don't have money for that. Okay, there it is, your mindset. You won't put it on paper because you don't have the mindset to even receive or entertain the fact that you can go to your ideal destination. I didn't say write down your dream trip if you were to have the money, or if somebody came up to you and blessed you with a free ticket and all of that. I'm asking you to take your mind on a destination, to take your pen to your paper and write it down. Where are a few places you've always wanted to go and visit? What is your destination? And make those arrangements by faith. Don't allow your limited thoughts to not allow you to take a free pen, or maybe you pay for it, that's not the point, but just the free act of just writing down your destination and put what those arrangements would look like. I have an aunt that she always wanted to go to Hawaii, and her kids always knew that that was a dream trip for her. This was way when they were younger. And my uncle passed away. She wasn't able to take the trip with him, but her kids always remember that she wanted to go to Hawaii. Why? Because she had that destination in mind year after year after year. It never really changed. It was always Hawaii. It was a certain island. She could see herself laid up. She could see herself walking. She could see herself drinking the water and putting on her little Hawaiian little skirt and just putting on her straw hat and everything Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii myself, but this is something that she desired. And what she did is had a group of kids in the 70s, took like a 10-year break and had 3 more. So there was a big window in age gaps. So a lot of the things that she desired, she had told herself. You notice how I say she told herself. She made herself believe, because of her decision to parent with whatever age gap she had, that as a mother, you can't go to Hawaii. Right? It just means that it might be a little bit more challenging, but nobody ever said that you can't ever go. But if your mind believed that you can't because you have kids, that's why you see people getting angry. They get resentful. And you have them now. You hear people with them nasty conversations. I wish I would have never had kids because I would have been able to do this, that, and the other. Hopefully they're not telling their kids that, because that's like a heavy blow. But you do. I'm sure through the years you've heard people say that. You might have said that to yourself under your breath. But the point is, when her kids was able to financially fulfill her dream of having this trip to Hawaii, it was on Facebook Live. They blew her away at dinner, gave her the tickets, the airfare. Her luggage was all brand new. She had never had luxury luggage ever. And so when you talk about making your arrangements and really picturing yourself, it might take 10 years, 5 years, 3 months, 2 weeks. But if someone wanted to bless you today with your destination trip fully paid, do you know how much that you would need to make that happen? Do you know what hotel you want to stay at? What Airbnb experience? Do you have some people in mind that you want to experience that trip with? You got to allow yourself to see yourself in a lifestyle that you deserve. But you got to go a little bit deeper and be honest with yourself. Do you believe you deserve it? Because if you do, you'll show up as her. You show up. It's almost like when you go try on clothes. You get those clothes. I don't know about you guys, but I hate it. I feel like I'm closed in. I don't know if it's because of weight gain over the years. It just feel like the dressing room is getting smaller and smaller. But sometimes you're forced to go try it on because you don't have time to be going to exchange this and exchange that. And so when you get in there, you're not sure if you can fit in the pants or the skirt or the dress, right? You're not really sure, but you sure that you need to try it on to see if it's a good fit. You're making sure that it's a good fit. Maybe what you saw on the mannequin, it might look a little different on your body type, right? So when you are making your arrangements for your ideal life and what you want to experience, you got to be able to try on things. And it might be uncomfortable, but it's better to be uncomfortable to know that you tried than to always wonder what if. So if you take something all the way home in this dressing room example, only to find out it doesn't fit, whether it's too big or too small, then you got to take another day back, all the way back. Or do you go through life, I wonder if that dress would have looked nice on me. I wonder if I would have, got them pants. Oh, that shirt would have matched that blouse that I had at home. I should have got it. The shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? So you're going to have to take a leap of faith. You're going to have to think a little bit broader, think a little bit fluffier, think a little bit more with stars and butterflies, right? But if we are so used to things don't fit, it's too expensive, they need to have a layaway. My credit card is maxed out. You see all that energy? That's not even taking ownership. Because if you were spending $400, $500, $600 on groceries, some kind of way, but now that you on empty nester down to one person or two people, where is that money going? Where? Why aren't you redirecting that money? If you struggle with budgeting, why aren't you in somebody's budgeting class to get yourself together? See, this is a season to really challenge all the limitations, all the excuses, and all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, because now it's all on you. The very thing that you've been wanting to do, it should be on your paper. If you want to get your finances in order, what's stopping you from logging on to somebody's budgeting class? What's stopping you from redirecting the money that you're spending on gas, taking everybody to school and work, to redirect it? What's stopping you from shredding up them credit cards that keep you bound so you're not tempted out of boredom as an empty nester of shopping? There's times where I had friends pick me up and just to get out the house, but I don't get out the car or I don't take any plastic demons with me because maybe that day I wasn't even thinking about shopping, but the emotion behind shopping, oh, because a friend picked you up, now you got stuff in your cart that you didn't even have budget for, or you already met your budget for the month. For some of you guys that really rock your budget, shout out to you. But you have to understand that the life that you're going to get is what you give to life. And then finally, which is not necessarily in order, but make a plan for staying in touch with your children. When are you going to visit them? When do you video chat them? When do you have phone calls? Some people I know have date nights with their grandkids if they're in the same area, or they have, annual or several trips a year where they fly out to be with their grandkids and kids. I know that the adult kids, they still need that attention, even though they gave you the grandkids as your children, they still need your attention as well. They might not admit it, but they do. It's like every time you call, you ask them where the kids at, and they feel that. They won't really say anything, but you gotta like spread your time between, the different demands. So make sure you have a plan and stand in contact with them. Um, and make sure that you do things not out of obligation, it's because you're doing it with a pure heart. So, like some people that have multiple grandkids from different parents or different kids, they do a whole grandchild retreat where spring break they all just come, and she get her grandparenting out the way in one whopping. She let them wear them out, and then for the rest of the year, she go for the holidays, maybe if that, and she's done. That's something that works for her, and that works for it. Like she said, it doesn't have to make sense to them, but she knows what she can do. She knows what she can tolerate. She knows her limitations, and she knows what she wants to experience. She knows what she wants to experience. So go ahead and take those things. Let me know how they go. Go ahead and come back and give us some feedback on how this exercise worked for you. And what you can do is hit the link in the bio and, you know, have an amazing time. You know that we always offer ongoing support, but happy empty nesting, and remember to stay committed to what you want to experience. All right? Life will be good to you when you're good to it. All right? I'll see you soon.